All right. I would like to present my paper, 5 Venture Capital Finance African Companies Successful. What is venture capital? Venture capital is a form of investment for early-stage initiative businesses with strong growth potential. Venture capital is a form of private equity that funds startups and early-stage emerging companies with a little to no operating history, but significant potential for growth. Fledgling companies sells ownership stakes to the venture capital funds in return for technical support and managerial experts or expertise. Venture capital investors typically participate in management and help the young companies executive to make decisions to drive growth. Startup founders have deep expertise in their chosen line of business, but they may lack the skills and the knowledge required to cultivate a growing company. While venture capitals specialize in guiding new companies, venture capital offers entrepreneurs other advantages. Portfolio companies get access to the venture capital funds, network of partners and experts. Moreover, they can depend on the venture capital firm for assistance when they try to raise money in the future. Venture capital is an alternative investment that is typically only available to institutional and accredited investors. Pension funds, be financial institutions, high net worth investors, and wealth managers, and typically invest in venture capital funds. Successful African venture capital finance companies. I have 5 of them here.
Now, can you share your slide? Can you share your slide?
Okay.
Let's see what you're using. Can you share?
Sorry, you cannot see my slide.
We can't see it yet.
I've sent it to your mail.
No, it's not my mail. Share it on this your laptop.
I've sent it to your mail.
Please, can you tell him how you shared yours?
The camera of my laptop is having a problem.
There's a share button. Oh yeah, you can share from your phone as well, sir. You can share from your phone. Check on your screen. There's a place that has share. Besides stop cam settings, there's share. It has plus on it. You click on it, then it will take you to where the document is. You will add it up and she will allow it in. That's all. Or better still.
Okay. Let me come out so that I will call me back.
No.
Can I check out so that I can come back?
Don't check out, please.
No?
You might not be able to call me. Don't check out, please.
Ma, do you have the document? And can you share with me so I share it? Then I'll just move the slide as is.
It's on the laptop.
Where did you?
It's on the laptop and the camera is not working.
Oh, was it on my mail?
From the phone.
Did you send it to Yahoo or Gmail? What mail did you send it to?
I sent it to your mail.
Is it Yahoo or Gmail?
Last week.
I'm not sure the one I sent. I have both Yahoo and Gmail.
Gmail. I sent it to Gmail.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll check now and get back to you. Who is making noise? It's announcing. Somebody's always talking to you at the background.
Oh, no, not me.
Oh, okay. I'll mute you. Okay, I'm trying to check the mail. I've not seen it yet. 1 minute, please. It's not opening. Okay, let's see. So I need to Google. Let me check through my phone first. I think that will be faster. So I can just okay. So, Mr. Nancy, what's your email? Can you hear me? What's your email?
Send it to my WhatsApp. My email is nasgarba11. But you can send to my WhatsApp.
It's taking time for you to
mail?
download. It's taking time for you to download.
Oh, okay. My email is
I'm trying to download it now. Okay, 1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute. Okay, I've downloaded it now. Let me share. Should I send it on the group?
Oh, that's fine.
I've sent one.
Okay.
I've sent one. Please let me know when you see it.
Okay, got it already. What's
the title of that one?
Now. The successful one.
Okay. Because
yeah.
There's another one.
Well, it's a PDF.
Not in PowerPoint.
Not PowerPoint. Let me see if it would share still.
Sir, you sent me 2 documents. Mr. Jacobs. Mr. Jacob. You sent me 2 documents, right? You sent me 2 documents. 2 documents.
Yeah,
Mr.
all right.
Jacob.
So just yes.
Okay.
Can you
I
share?
just uploaded it. You can have it now. I just uploaded it, so you can have it now.
It's not here yet. It's not here yet. I can't see it yet.
Okay, you'd see it in a short while. Processing. Still loading.
Okay, yeah, continue, sir. Please continue. Sir, continue.
All right. So,
okay, have you sent it now?
Okay. 5 successful finance companies. Number 1,
You
I
answer.
have
Okay,
number 1 I have here is Flutterwave, cheaper cars, Praslas, Meanwhile, and Dangote Group. Flutterwave is a Nigerian fintech company that provides a payment infrastructure for global merchants and payment service providers across the continent. Headquarters of the company, San Francisco, California, United States. Founders, Olugbenga Agbola and Ijioluwa Aboyeji. The company was founded in 2016. The operating status active. Last funding types, Series B, D. Legal name, Flutterwave Incorporated. I have contact, email, website, and so on and so forth here. The background of Olugbenga Agbola, CEO. Olugbenga Agbola is Nigerian software engineer an entrepreneur. He is the CEO and the founder of Flutterwave. He was born in Lagos and he is a graduate of MBA program at MIT Sloan School of Management. He is 37 years old and he is one of Africa's well-known entrepreneurs. He was recognized on the 2021 Times 100 list. He specializes in digital cars registers to hosting the digital store front, helping some 20,000 small businesses suddenly without food trafficking set up online shops. Flutterwave provides technology, infrastructure, and services to enable global merchants to pay to global merchants, payment service providers, and helps banks and businesses to build secure and seamless payment solutions for their customers by smoothing the exchange of funds. Flutterwave is used to receive online payments and arrange delivery options. It is one of the successful businesses in Africa. Total funding amount for Flutterwave has raised a total of $474.5 million. The funding over 11 rounds. Their latest funding was raised on February 16, 2020 from Series D round. Investments. Flutterwave has made 2 investments. The first was Senate Pay and $2.4 million was raised. The most recent investment was March 30, 2022, when Dapo raised $3.4 million. Investors. Flutterwave funded by 49 investors. Phoenix Growth Capital and B Capital Group had more recent investors. Acquisitions. Flutterwave has acquired this on November 10, 2021. Countries in Africa that Flutterwave operates in: Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, and Tanzania. The second successful company that I have here, Cheaper Cars. It's a fintech platform that offers mobile and cross-border money transfer services. Headquarters, San Francisco, California, United States. Founders, Saruj and Majid Majulet. Founded in 2018, operating status active, last funding type Series C, legal name Critical Ideas Incorporated. Also known as Critical Ideas, okay? Contact me, website, and so forth. Background of Soruji, CEO. Soruji is age 23, grew up in Uganda, and started swimming positively at the age of 6. His parents encouraged his education and athletics, and excelled in both. In 2010, he enrolled at Agana Academy in Mombasa, Kenya. On his way to Kenya, he competed in Youth Olympics in Singapore in 2010. Which bank owns Cheaper Cars? SVB Capital, the investment arm of US high-tech commercial bank Silicon Valley Bank. Cheaper Cars is a venture capital backed financial technology company that builds software to enable free and instant peer-to-peer cross-border payments in Africa and Europe. Cheaper Cars raised $250 million in 2001, $250 million in 2021, thus pushing up its valuation to over $2 billion. In November 2020, Cheaper Cars raised $300 million for Series B. Cheaper Cars empower people to have access to crypto and to be able to buy, hold, and sell crypto. Total funding amount. Cheaper Cars has raised total of $302.2 million in funding over 7 rounds. Their latest funding was raised on November 1, 2021 from the Series C round. Investors. Cheaper Cars is funded by 24 investors, New Cards, Ventures, and SVB Capital are the most recent investors. Countries in Africa that Cheaper Cars operate in: Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, Tanzania, Rwanda, South Africa, and Kenya. The third successful companies in Africa, Paras Labs, is an e-learning company that developed a product that makes virtual science lab accessible. Headquarters, Cairo, in Egypt. Founders, Said and Khadija El Bedweli, founded March 1, 2016. Operating status active, last funding type, non-equity assistance. Legal name, Paras Labs OU. Background of Khadija El Bedawi, CEO. Khadija Bedawi is the co-founder of Paras Labs in Egypt, an award winner, tech business. She graduated top of her class 4 years in a row, and went on to receive a PhD at University of Sheffield, becoming the youngest lecturer in her faculty. Her PhD focused on human computer interaction and user experience. She also believes in adopting technology for improving education and enabling equal opportunities. She manages Paras Labs and has an amazing team that share the same visa with her. She took home the $300,000 prize money to further develop a complete feature 3D science lab platform, which allows students with little means to conduct science experiments. Paras Lab is an online platform providing interactive science labs for students, even enabling scientific research. Paras Lab is an award-winning business in Egypt, providing STEM education through 30 interactive virtual science lab stimulations. Paras Lab provides equal opportunity for STEM education for students everywhere by providing 3D interactive virtual stimulations of science lab. Total funding amount, Paras Lab has raised a total of $150,000 in funding over 2 rounds. Their latest funding was raised on September 14, 2020 from the non-equity assistance rounds. Investors. Paras Labs funded by 2 investors, Change Labs and Catbot, are the Catapult are the most recent investors. Number 4 successful company in Africa. Meanwhile, provides wholesale telecommunication, bandwidth services, and land cables for telecom operators and internet service providers. Headquartered in Lagos, Nigeria. Founders Funke Okweke, founded in 2007. Operating status active, last funding type secondary market, also known as Main One Cable. Formerly known as Main One Cable Company. Background of Funke Okweke, CEO. Funke Okweke is a Nigerian electrical engineer, founder of Main Street Technologies and Main One Cable Company, and CEO of Main One Cable Company, a communication service company based in Lagos State. He was born in 1961, a native of Ile-Oluji, Ondo State. She finished a secondary school at Queen School, Ibadan, Oyo State, and obtained a bachelor and master's degree at Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU, and Columbia University, respectively. She worked in U.S. telecoms for 20 years, then returned to Nigeria in 2005 to take on the role of Chief Technology Officer of MTN Nigeria. She noticed that low internet connectivity in Nigeria, though creating a solution, seemed unachievable and too ambitious, but not for Funke Okweke, as he turned as an engineer eyes toward the ocean, raised $250 million in funding, and laid 4,400 miles of fiber optic cable from Nigeria to Portugal, and started what we all know today as Main One, West Africa's leading communication services and network solution provider. According to Tech by Forbes, in 2018, she was named one of the world's top 50 women in the industry. Through her efforts in internet adoption, she was also recently named one of the top 10 women to watch in the data center industry by Data Center magazine. Meanwhile, also known as Main One Cable or Main One, is a leading provider of innovative telecom services and network solutions for businesses in West Africa. Main One has developed reputation for highly reliable services to become the preferred provider of wholesale internet services to major telecom operators, ISPs, government agencies, large enterprises, and educational institutions in West Africa. Main One's world-class submarine cable system running down the coast of West Africa, state-of-the-art IP-NG network, growing regional and metro terrestrial fiber optic networks, and data center facilities enable broadband services for businesses needing online connectivity solutions in West Africa. Total funding amount, meanwhile, has raised total of $450 million in funding over 4 rounds. Their latest funding was raised on April 19, 2022 for a secondary market round. Investors. One man is funded by 3 investors. Meanwhile, is funded by 3 investors. Equis and Orange are the most recent investors. Countries in Africa that meanwhile operates in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire. The last successful business in Africa that I have here, Dangote Group, is the largest industrial conglomerate in West Africa, and one of the largest in Africa. Founder Aliko Dangote Founded in 1981. Operating status active. Background of Aliko Dangote, CEO. Aliko Dangote is Africa's richest man. In 2021, he attained his highest wealth in even 7 years, buoyed by the rising share price of Dangote Cement PLC and higher oil and fertilizer prices. He was born in Kano. The businessman wealth surged by $2.3 billion last year to $20.2 billion as of December 3rd, 2021. The highest wealth Dangote has attained, according to index, was $26.7 billion in June 2014. Dangote Group started a trading company in 1978 before it diversified into local production of cement, sugar, salt, pasta, and beef ridges, and with new projects underway in the oil and gas sector. Dangote Group is one of the largest employers in Nigeria. It's present in 16 African countries. The group is fully involved in corporate social responsibility activities, which it executes through the Dangote Foundation. Countries in Africa that Dangote Group operate in: Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, Ethiopia, Ghana, Senegal, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia, Liberia, Togo, Kenya, and Cote d'Ivoire. Now I want to talk about 5 venture capital finance Africa companies that failed. Successful Africa venture capital finance companies that failed.
Sorry, please hold on, sir.
Wala,
Hello, sir.
Oyabe, Exit, Go My Way.
Can you please
This is a subscription video on demand that provide millions of fans with unlimited access to Afro, American, and African movies.
Do you have the slides?
Yes, the second one, I've sent it to you.
Okay. Mr. Nasir, can you share, please?
The second one.
1 minute, sir.
I just tried uploading, but I think let me delete the previous ones I uploaded. I can't upload more than 2. I already did. So let me delete it. Let me see. Okay. Delete. Delete. Okay, uploading already.
Okay. Okay, we can start now.
Okay.
All right. AfroStream. AfroStream is subscription video on demand that provides millions of fans with unlimited access to Afro-American and African movies. Headquarters in Menlo Park, California, United States. Founders Lord Fig and Lord Fig Bostra and Toje Bank Toje. Founded in 2014. Operating status closed. Last funding type venture series or no. Legal name AfroStream. AfroStream kick off in 2014 as a subscription video on demand startup that was big on Africa and American and African movies. Toje Bank, the Cameroonian entrepreneur who funded the startup, may have been looking to pull off a Jackson Njoku, but it appears that he did not quit, pan out. Barely 2 years after launching the Y Combinator back startup, which had also raised funding from 5 other investors, had to call it quits. In a post put together by startup founder, it was revealed that AfroStream was cut short because the startup could not afford to raise further funding, to finance the content acquisition. Banga also revealed that he had made effort to find buyers for the startup, but that too proved futile. As things turned out, Banga had to put the plug onto the startup, having failed to mount this serious challenge as competitor to Jase Njoku's Iroko. The second company that failed in Africa, Wala, is built a community-driven and game-feed personal financial management tool for cash-based consumers in emerging markets. Headquarters, Cape Town, South Africa. Founder, Sama Saad, Tricia Mataze.
Ignacio, can you move the slide? No, the first one, the first slide. Okay. No, after this one. The Wala is built and personal financial management to for cash-based consumers in emerging markets. Okay. Okay, can you continue, sir?
Headquarters of Wala in Cape Town, South Africa. Founder, Sama Saad and Tricia Mataze. Founded in 2015, operating status closed. Last funding type, initial coin offering. Legal name, Basic Transfer Incorporated. Close date, February 1, 2019. Wala has built a community-driven and gamified personal financial management tool for cash-based consumers in emerging markets. The product allows users to easily track their spending and earning to develop a financial profile for a customer that currently does not have one. The app then uses that profile to set weekly financial and engagement goals, which improve the customer's spending and savings. As users continue to engage with the app by logging their transaction and reaching their goals, they be awarded points which can be redeemed for cash, data, and other rewards. Through the app, the user will then be able to sign up and access financial products like deposit accounts, payments, and more. Voila, a South African crypto startup with operations in Uganda rapidly rose to the prominence after raising $1.2 million in 2017. Initial coin offering, ICO, and a further $1 million seed round raise for investors like Vinny Lingham, Newtown partner. Using the Crypto Power payment app, the user in South Africa to pay their month electricity bill in Uganda, and for a while, things worked so well. But for the startup, demise was just as sweet as its rise. Despite gaining early transaction in facilitating remittances and other payment for Africa underbanked, Voila was effectively broke by early 2019, laying off its staff and closing access to the company's flagship app in February, and many had described Voila as the until things went south. In a blog post put together by CEO Tricia Matthias in June, and the startup failure was blamed on Africa's poor infrastructure. Additionally, an interview with the Voila co-founder Samar Saad also claimed new Uganda regulations and unreliable internet infrastructure sparked an exodus of users from the nascent platform. But the views from many other sources familiar with the company attributes, the failure to lively spending on the part of the founders and the absence of revenue model. The third company, Oyapay. Oyapay is a platform that modernizes offline transaction in Africa. Headquarters in Lagos, founders Mahid Azam, Kos Achille Aroku, founded in 2017, operating status close, also known as Oyapay Me. Oyapay Me. Oyapay Me is considered as one of the most promising Nigeria fintech startups that failed. It wanted to enable unbanked businesses to make digital transactions even without a smartphone. Oyapay Me's work who have contributed to boosting financial inclusion in a country where 56% of the population are unbanked. Founded by Hamid Azam and his co-founder in 2017. The shutdown of Oyapay Me in 2019 was a sad one for Nigeria's startup ecosystem. The fintech startup barely survived the first year into its launch. Oyapay Me was faced with the challenge of a family investment that went south. According to Assam, when there was the need for more investors. The senior family member did not welcome the idea that dilute his investment. Following failed attempts to resolve the issue, Oya pays me, journey had to come to an end. All in all, we can only trust the up and coming fintech startup founders to learn from Nigeria's fintech startup that have failed. The fourth fee capital entrepreneurs company, Exit. Exit, a mobile social network that based in Africa. Exit, okay. A mobile social network that based in Africa allows users to share updates, send messages, exchange images, and upload and download media. Headquarters, Stellenbosch, South Africa. Founder, Emma Enos. Founded in 2004, operating status close. Exit is an African largest mobile social network. Users can share updates, chat with friends, send messages, exchange images, and upload and download media. Exit app allows developers to access and integrate with other applications and to create new applications. Available API methods include sending and receiving messages, listening and retrieving elements, and managing users' accounts. Exit Mola, own internal currency, gives users access to premium features such as apps, skins, wallpapers, and other digital goods. In 2013, chat app, Exit, a South African social networking platform, reported that its monthly active user base was 7.5 million. But this figure dropped to just 1.2 million monthly active users in June 2015. In October 2015, Exit announced that it was finally shutting down its corporate operations, but it will still not leave the app available for download and use. Yet a year later, in October 2016, the app users couldn't send and receive messages anymore. The startup was founded in 2004. Exit rolled the instant messaging way before the likes of BlackBerry, Messenger, WhatsApp took off with the advent of smartphones. And it was a popular app of choice among South African teens and 20-something when it entered the pre-smartphone era in 2005. In 2012, it acquired More Tribe, a platform that allows anyone, anywhere to build, manage, generate revenue from their own social mobile website. However, it fell victim to the rise of intense competition for international offerings such as WhatsApp and Facebook. The last company that failed in Africa, Go My Way, was a ride-sharing service that connect private car owners with empty seats to passenger going the same way across Nigeria. Headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria, founders Damilola Teddy. Founded in 2015, operating status closed. Go My Way is a ride-sharing marketplace connecting passengers with ride owners, collecting passengers with ride owners going along the same route and have empty seats to spare. Go My Way offers you the cheapest and more convenient way to travel on a long distance trips across the country or simply to commute within your city. As a ride owner, your co-travelers pay you an agreed contribution that will help cover some of your travel expenses. Bracket open, e.g. fuel costs, aside significantly reducing your travel costs, whether as a passenger or ride owner. You can get to make new friends, meet potential business partners, and confidently arrive at your destination. In addition, you get to contribute to protecting the environment. Go My Way was a Nigeria ride-sharing platform which saw down its operations at the end of October 2017. The startup cited running out of funding as the reason for shutting down. Go My Way, then CEO Damilola Ted, pointed out that the startup couldn't afford to go forward according to the initial plan of running a free service for a year or two. It does not take a lot of resources. It does take a lot of resources to run this business, and initial plan was no longer sustainable. The shareholders, stroke investors, came to a conclusion to shut down operations and close the business. There were no funds to invest further. Damilola noted at that time, and at the point of closure, Go My Way, I received backing from several well-known investors, including Ogai, founder, and former CEO Sim Sagaya, and former Amazon and NASPA's executive B. Palladino. Damilola later joined Nigeria CC up as the director of incubation after Go My Way folded up. So
no, I think it's done. Okay.
Jacob, thank you so much. But the major issue with your presentation was that you read all through.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, and I do. Can you hear me? Can you hear my comments?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I said one major issue with the presentation was that you read the presentation all through, and I didn't want to destabilize you by coming in, breaking, and like that. That your support system, is that your wife? Was it your wife that was helping you?
Nobody is disturbing me.
I'm not saying they are disturbing. Somebody was beside you. Was it your wife?
Yes.
I just want to say hello to the person.
Yes.
He did a good job.
My children is around me. My children they are around me.
Okay, they all did a good job. Well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So apart from this presentation of presenting 5 successful venture capitalist funded organization and 5 unsuccessful, what other presentation do you have? Do you have any other presentation?
Then 5 feet.
No, this is
I
African.
presented 5 feet.
Then we have global around the world
Okay.
for the
I just
next
wanted
two
to be sure.
presentation. Successful.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Nasir now.
Those are the two I have for tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
We were
Mr.
supposed
Jacobs,
to have.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So let's now listen to Mr. Nasir so that he can have his own presentation.
Okay.
So Nasir, when is exam starting? When are you starting exams?
Honestly, I think sometimes in June, first week in June.
Okay, first week. That means we have to the end of this
First
month.
week in June.
Okay, that means we have
Yeah,
up to the end of this month to do whatever we want to do, right?
Yeah, so that's why we chose
So
the Sundays of the month. Every Sunday
how
of the
many
month.
more weeks do we have?
We have, in the month, we have 3 more weeks. But for the
3 more weeks.
presentation, we were supposed to have 2 more weeks, 2 more presentations after this one. But then it won't be enough, so we'll probably have 1 more. So we'll utilize the 3 weeks.
From this week, I'll start sending you the link to watch the videos by God's grace. I'm done sketching out the course structure. Then just for me to develop the slides and upload. So by the end of this week, you start getting the link so that you can also prepare alongside. Okay, so over to you now.
All right, so
the other Alaja now has gone off.
Yeah, she was to present after Mr. Alayanju, but because she's not around, so I'll go ahead with mine.
Okay, so what if you finish and she's still not here? What do we do?
I think maybe by next week she can present to this one and the other one, the last week one and the one for this week.
Okay, are we just 3? It's just the 3 of us, right?
We are 4. The 4th person was the one that gave an excuse of not going to be around this week. She'll be around next week.
Last week wasn't here. This week
last week.
And this week she's not here too.
She's not here as well. Yeah.
Okay. So what happens if she's not around next week too?
We'll leave you to decide now.
Really? Smart one. Okay. Because I'm just wondering, Sunday should be free for everyone, and it was your own decision I followed. It's not as if it's very convenient for me to. So if you are not here in the first class, second class, I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so over to you now.
Okay.
But I have some questions for Mr. Olayanju.
Okay then.
Mr. Olayanju, can you hear me? Mr. Olayanju, can you hear me? Okay, you're on mute. Okay, I'll mute you now. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Olayanju? Mr. Olayanju, can you unmute yourself? Okay.
I've done that, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. One, because I also did a lot of corrections when Mr. Nasir was presenting last week. One, you spoke about floater waves, and Mr. Nasir already spoke about floater waves last week. And towards the end of the class, I know you were trying to ask some questions and blah, 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 blah. I was thinking today that you are going to remove floater waves and add another company to yours, since he already spoke about it last week.
Yes, I told you last week that the founder he presented was not
right.
Was not the person.
Yes, was not right. Yours is right. His was not right. Yes, yours is right. His own founder was not right.
Yes.
Was that the reason why you represented it again?
That's why I presented it, so that we can get the correct founder.
One of the founder is Aboyeji, or what? I can't remember the name you called. Aboyeji or something. what's his name again? I can't remember his own name because I used to follow him on LinkedIn.
What I have here is what I have for here on my presentation is Olugbenga Agbola and Iyoluwa Aboyeji.
Olugbenga Agbola. Then Iyoluwa.
Yes, ma'am.
I was even talking about Iyoluwa Aboyeji.
Aboyeji.
Yes, those are the founder. Those two people are the founders of Floater Wave. You understand? Mr. Nassi will make his own correction. He will adjust his own. Then also these unsuccessful companies, all the unsuccessful companies that you have mentioned in Africa, the AfroStream, the Wala,
Yes.
the Oya Pay, the MZit, and the Go My Way. Did you? I didn't hear this from your
Yes,
presentation. Their rounds of funding and why they failed. You didn't tell us the reasons why they failed. All of them failed. Who funded them? Why did they fail? And
I mentioned it.
you mentioned who funded
Okay,
them.
go on, ma'am.
Did you mention who funded them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you mention why they failed?
I did, ma'am.
To all of them?
Yes, ma'am. It's on the slide.
Okay. Maybe I will have to check again. Maybe I wasn't listening at that point. Okay. Did you find out how they were able to dissolve? Did you find out how all of these companies that failed were able to dissolve? Were they able to pay back some of the equity fund? How did they exit? Was it liquidation? Was it mergers? Was it acquisition? What happened? Did you find out?
No, I didn't do research about that, ma'am.
Okay, sir, you have to do some research about that so that we can also learn from their own experience. Do you get, sir?
All right, ma'am.
Okay.
All right,
So
ma'am.
I would wait for your correction during the course of the week. Okay. So Mr. Nasir, over
All
to
right.
you now so that we don't take all our time. It's tonight already.
Okay. Okay, I think in my own slide I have two repeat companies from what Mr. Olayoju did.
Okay.
And that's
Are you saying now we should share our slide before the presentation so that we don't have a repeat? Or what do you
maybe going forward we should submit ahead of time the companies we're working on so somebody else won't work on it.
Please, we have to. And I feel what we should do is that it's not about submitting the slide or the material. Let's list the company and submit it on the group chat.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you understand? Because many people don't even download the materials to read or to check. But once you put the list of the company, nobody will say, I did not see it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The 5 companies we are presenting next week, 5 successful, 5 unsuccessful outside Africa, should be stated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the WhatsApp platform.
Okay, that's fine, ma'am.
All right, sir. So over to you now.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, so starting a business, nobody wants to start a business and decide to fail, right? Except for the harsh realities that eventually come into play, and you probably don't even have an option but to close up. It is said that about 90% of all startups fail, statistically. So,
That's painful.
and statistically, yeah, about 90% of all startups fail. So let's say about 10% of them eventually become successful. And looking at the ecosystem of Africa startups, right, we can see that we have more failures than successes, right? Except for the last 10 years. Except for the last 10 years where we have remarkable, growth in the tech and startup ecosystem in Africa. So and over the years, in the past 10 years, we've recorded a very remarkable growth in funding. Having people like the Silicon Valley venture capital to invest in Africa. Right. Some countries have enacted startups, tech innovations hubs have sprung up from everywhere. We have a lot of incubators, accelerators, and additions everywhere in Africa now. I would like us to, have in mind some of the reasons why startups fail, right? Number one is lack of market demand. So most organizations or most companies, the fact is they are too focused on the targets of what they want to do, bringing up a particular product or developing a company rather than looking to, okay, who are these products or who are these things going to service, right? And no market, no cash, basically. If you don't have people to buy into your product, you cannot respond and you cannot grow. So that's a primary reason for failure. Another one is insufficient financial resources. The reason why we're looking into venture capital is to see how startups are being funded, right? And it was said earlier that not until about 10 years ago, Africa startups there just started recording a remarkable growth in funding and people having to trust them so much with their funds. So insufficient financial resources have been a really big problem for them. And the Insight study puts the proportion of companies that failed due to liquidity problem at just under 1/3. That's about 29-30% thereabouts of companies fail due to insufficient financial resources. Then another reason why startups fail is wrong team. You as the CEO or the co-founder of whatever organization, you so much believe in the dream of what you have created, right? But the mistake or the problem most people encounter in their startup is the fact that over time, the team they build don't believe in them, and they are probably after, okay, um, can Shisha can go and move on. So eventually they don't believe so much in the dream of what you're holding at hand, and you're bound to fail. I'd like us to have an idea of the first 5 employees will make or break you. So it is very important when you're setting up your business or your company that the first 5 employees you're recruiting or employing are people who you can entrust with your company, and they can deliver for you basically. Number four reason why startups fail, strong competition. Uh, we all have an idea of what competition is. Definitely looking at the likes of Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola and 7-Up, Upton Company. There, imagine a bigger competition for a startup, right? You are just starting up and you have somebody who is like a cash cow in the industry competing against you. You're bound to fail, basically. And there's an example here on my slide of Mint. Mint, there's a what's it called? There's a company called Wasabi. Wasabi started, then Mint went to develop something better than they built on the failures of Wasabi, and eventually when they launched, they were bigger than Wasabi, and Wasabi had to collapse basically. So that's how a very strong competition um, can kill a startup in the beginning. Then pricing and cost. This is very important as well. You're just coming into the market. The pricing you're giving people who would patronize you is very important. The cost implications of your product development is as well very important, because this is what will decide whether you're going to break even in your profit or not. Now we have other factors. Other factors, a bad core product and the lack of a successful business model. Business models, we should have an idea of what business models are, and models you use in, directing your business. How do you want your business to go, and all of those things. Wrong innovation, marketing, or ignoring customer needs are also a top at the list of the reasons why startups fail. So now going into my list for today, right? I mentioned earlier that I would be repeating two of the companies Mr. Olaiju earlier talked about. One of them is AfroStream, the other one is Wala. They should all have an idea of due day and everything. You might not know Connectmed, but I think due day and everything, we should be a bit familiar with that. These are the companies I'll be presenting on their failures. Okay, so due day. Due day reigned between 2011 and 2019. It was a Nigeria company. Due day is like okay. Due day is an e-commerce, something like the Konga, the Jumia, back then in 2015 when they started, 2011 when they started, they were more like that. They were linking prospective buyers and prospective sellers together physically. And Sim Shagaya was the founder of Due Day, and he was able to raise 3.1 million US dollars for his current company that he has, which is ULesson. As of 2015, Due Day was in league with the biggest e-commerce players in Nigeria. Right? And as at then, he was able to gobble up an investment of about 5 million US dollar from Kinnevik. Kinnevik was one of the people who keyed into the funding, but it didn't take long before everything went bad for Due Day. A combination of factors, including market uncertainty. One of the reasons why Due Day closed down was market uncertainty. Apathy surrounding Nigerian e-commerce at then was one of the reasons why Due Day closed down. At the time, it resulted in a cash purge and forced the company to lay off 60% of its staff towards the end of 2015. In 2016, the year after 2015, when he laid off most of his staff, it was reported that Due Day had been acquired for 5 million US dollars by Vinegar Africa. Vinegar Africa acquired Due Day, but there was to be salvation that the company appeared to have gone beyond redemption at that point. There was nothing they could do to, bring back Due Day anymore. So Vinegar had to take it over completely. With the likes of Better Fund through struggling competitors like Jumia, it couldn't survive at that time. Basically, we had people like Jumia, Konga, right? In 2015, they were at the top of their game. So Due Day couldn't survive, and they had to close up eventually in 2019. So back to the funding of Due Day. Due Day Limited were able to raise a total of 5 million US dollars in funding over one round. They had just one round. The one round was a Series B, round in 2015. Due Day Limited was funded by two investors. The two investors were Rocket Internet and Kinnevik. They were the major investors in Due Day. In February 2015, there was a Series B. I mentioned that earlier, that the only funding they had was a Series B funding, which had two investors, which was Kinnevik and Rocket Internet. But Kinnevik was the lead investor in this. So the next I'm going to talk about is AfroStream. AfroStream was a Cameroon-based company which only lived for 3 years between 2014 and 2017. More like what we know, more like the Netflix of now.
Netflix, yeah.
Was doing. Yeah, more like the Netflix of now. That was what AfroStream was doing. And it was more like you subscribe, video on demand, and then it was a really big thing. But then it was just for Afro-American and African movies. Sonje Bakang was the Cameroonian entrepreneur that founded the startup. And at that time, definitely, you wouldn't have thought it was going to come to an end as quick as it did, definitely. But barely 2 years after launching, Y Combinator Y Combinator is a venture capital. I think in my last presentation under successful companies, I mentioned Y Combinator as well. It was one of those venture capital that backed AfroStream, and also helped them to raise from 5 other investors. But eventually they had to call it quits because they probably didn't believe in the dream, right? Um, in a post put together by the blogs where we got all of those materials from, it was revealed that AfroStream was cut short because the startup couldn't afford to raise further funding. They couldn't afford to raise it. People didn't believe in their dream anymore, and they couldn't finance their content acquisition because just like you having the big short movies on your platform, you have to pay for rights. They couldn't afford to pay those rights anymore, so they had to close down. Bakang also released. Bakang is the founder. He also revealed that he had made efforts to find buyers for the startup, but he couldn't get. As things turned out, Bakang had to pull the plug on the startup, having failed to mount a serious challenge as a competitor to Jason Njoku. That's Iroko TV. Iroko TV, like I mentioned earlier, that I itemized reasons why startups fail, and strong competition was one of it. It couldn't survive the competition with Iroko TV, and that was one of the reasons why it closed shop. So, talking about funding, AfroStream were able to raise a total of 120K in funding over 2 rounds, and the latest funding they were able to raise was on October 7, 2015. AfroStream is funded by 6 investors: If and Company, Louis Beryl, the most recent investor that at 2015 when he raised what he raised. So the two fundings they did was one in October 7, 2015. There was a venture round with 5 investors, having Orange Ventures as a lead investor. Then there was another one which was a seed round in 2015 with just one investor raising 120K. So basically, it was just about 120,000 they raised all through the lifespan of AfroStream. But we can see that the reason why AfroStream failed was because of the strong competition from Iroko TV. They couldn't survive it, and they couldn't afford to pay for rights anymore, the content they show people. So the next one I'm talking about is Wala. Wala is a South African-based company which lived between 2017 and 2019. Like the Binance of today, that's what Wala is. We have an idea of what Binance is now, do you?
Yes.
Okay, so Wala is like the Binance of today. So many people believed in Wala. They believed Wala was going to be like the African crypto wallets that so many people will key into. So okay, Wala, a South African crypto startup with operations in Uganda, it rose to prominence after raising $1.2 million. He raised $1.2 million in 2017 in an initial coin offering. Initial coin offering is just like the IPO, like the public offer, but then ICO for crypto, right? And it further raised $1 million US in a seed round from investors like Vinny Lingham and Newton Partners. These were the venture capital who feed into the seed round. Using the crypto-powered payment app, a user in South Africa could, pay bills from anywhere around the world, and it was really good at that time. But the startup demise was just as quick as it rose. the way it rose was how it came down. It didn't last long at all. Despite gaining early traction, right, and having so many people keying into it, and I think one of the reasons why it failed so quickly was because um, so many percentage of people in Africa are on banks. They don't keep their monies in banks, and the the infrastructure for the company was not as well very put together, right? Because the CEO, Tricia Martinez, in June 2019, when it closed that year, he cited poor infrastructure as one of the problems or one of the reasons why they closed.
It failed.
Yeah, additionally, the co-founder, Sama Sahab, he also claimed that Ugandan regulations and unreliable internet infrastructure was one of the reasons for their closure, just like Nigeria as well, banning crypto and all of those things. It could be really difficult for companies, for startups. I think if you can remember OPay in 2018, when OPay had
2018,
their whole
2019.
ride, exactly. Yeah, when they had their whole ride, bike, and all of those things, and Lagos State all of a sudden stopped the operation of all of those things. It affected them a great deal, and that's an
And many other
example of how
companies.
the
Yes.
regulations, exactly. That's an example of how
Policies.
the
Yes.
regulations
Policies and
of a state
regulations.
can, a company can affect startup development, basically. So one of
One
the
minute.
reasons given by Wala
1 minute,
was the
please. You
regulation in
cannot
Uganda.
sing.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
okay.
Opio,
I can
did
hear you.
they
I'm you. I
completely
can hear you.
fail? Opio.
No, and no. It was an arm of
They
it.
have
The
other
whole ride,
businesses.
the ride hailing.
Yes,
They
they
have
have
other
other
businesses
businesses
they're doing.
that are doing at the moment,
Yeah,
right? So they are
exactly.
not
They do.
completely failed.
No,
So
they're not.
we cannot classify them under unsuccessful venture capitalist
No. We
firms.
cannot, because it was just like the maybe I
Something
can
like
say all ride failed.
okay, all right, failed. But Opel as the
Maybe all
company
right failed.
did not fail.
OP as a company is still existing. Exactly. So
Okay.
yeah. So um although, like me being a founder of a company now, I would give reasons that would favor me to say, okay, this is one of the reasons why my organization or my company failed. But the view from so many other people about Wala is that the founders were lavish in their spending, and they had an absence of revenue model was another reason for their failure. That was of the view of people from the outside. So
Okay.
um, yeah, they were able to raise $1.2 million in 4 rounds. The latest was in 2017 from the ICO, which I explained to how the ICO was earlier. And Wala is funded by four investors. Newton Partners, Silicon Badia are the most recent investors. These are the list of the funding for Wala. In 2016, they had a seed round with two investors. In 2016 as well, in January 25th, they had a pre-seed round with two investors. Barclays Accelerator, powered by Techstars, were the lead investors in this. October 14, 2017, there was a venture round with two investors, and they had Newton Partners as the lead on this. And December 14, 2017, there was another. December 14, 2017 was when they had their ICO, which raised about $1.2 million. So that's all for Wala. Then the next I'm going to talk about is Connectmed. Connectmed, um, Connectmed is a Kenya-based company which lived between 2016 and 2019. I'm not sure if we're conversant with, there's this medical app now where you can just go put your symptoms and it would prescribe a drug and all of those things for you. I can't remember the name, but this was more like what Connectmed was doing then, right? In March 2019, from a press release from them, it indicated that the startup was shutting down its operation. You would wonder why they were shutting down their operation, right? But they couldn't just survive. It was more like a telehealth solutions, basically. Over its time, the startup, which was founded in 2016, launched 3 direct-to-consumer digital health products in Kenya and South Africa and served over 8,000 patients. Along with corporate clients, it raised over $300,000 in investment through grants and prizes, mainly from the University of Cape Town's Bertha Center, University of Oxford's Skull Center, Entrepreneur First, and Catapult Accelerator. Okay, now to the funding of Connectmed. Connectmed was able to raise a total of 294.5 thousand in funding over 7 rounds. Their latest funding was raised on April 1, 2018 from a grant round. Connectmed is funded by 7 investors. Virgo, Kenya, and Catapult are the most recent investors, were the most recent investors of Connectmed before they folded up. Okay, the types of funding Connectmed had. In March 1, 2016, they had a non-equity assistance of 25,000. I explained what a non-equity assistance was to us last week. April 1, 2016, they had a grant from University of Cape Town, which was to the tune of $3,000. Then again in June 7, 2016, they had another non-equity assistance from Speed Up Africa. Speed Up Africa, they help in developing very fast internet, basically that's what they do. So in August 1st, 2016, there was another grant from Skoll Foundation for Connectmed, which was to the tune of $6,500. In 2017, there was a pre-seed round, which helped them to raise $100,000 through Entrepreneur First. Then, in March 1st, 2018, there was another pre-seed round, raising $150,000 through Catapult. Then, in April 1, 2018, they got another grant from Virgo, Kenya, and that was about $10,000. The last of my company to talk about is Everything. But unfortunately, I couldn't get the funding details of Everything on Crunchbase. I checked on some other platforms as well, but I couldn't get it. But then Everything suspended operation in 2017, and their complaint for suspending operation was because of poor internet penetration and adoption, high cost of internet, and challenges in Nigeria. Yes, and challenging prevailing economic headwinds in Nigeria.
What were they into? What were they into?
Everything. You could go on Everything and buy anything. That was what they were doing.
Okay. I think at a point it was automobiles.
Exactly. Just like the way we have what's the name of this company? We have no, not just GG. GG does everything as well. GG, GG is a bit different from all them Jumia and the rest.
Yes.
That was what they were doing as well, was e-commerce. So
okay.
And they started in 2015, and it was more like used goods. I told you, Gigi, you can easily go on Gigi, post a phone you want to sell, you get a buyer, buy it, and all of those things. That was what they were doing. So the CEO's name was Neil Armour.
Everything was doing to us at that time.
Sorry?
I said that was the same thing Everything was doing to us at that time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were doing. What Gigi does now.
E-commerce platform that makes you to bring your used products to come and display and sell. Mm-hmm. It brings the buyer and the seller together at one point.
Yeah. So
I didn't know they are no longer in existence.
They closed in 2017. Yes.
Wow, that's a long time, 5 years.
Yeah. So, News Ahmad, the CEO of everything, was in charge of the startup for most of the time in Nigeria, and he who listed all the factors above, the high cost of data and all of those things, as one of the reasons why they can't stop being in Nigeria. But there was another interesting take on the matter from an insider. The insider was a former marketing manager at everything. He blamed the company's demise on the Somalian national who formerly managed everything. He said the manager, Zakaria Elsi and Ajene, right, accused him of stealing thousands of dollars, enabling internal mismanagement and creating false invoice trails to cover his tracks. So, um, like I mentioned, one of the reasons why startups could fail, we can see now that, they
Another
probably
reason
didn't
that you
have,
mentioned is
yeah,
mismanagement.
mismanagement, and they probably didn't
Mismanagement.
have good staff. And we can see this also um,
Embezzlement.
is we can see it as an evidence in everything. And this leads to the end of my presentation for the failed um, VC invested companies in Africa. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time.
Sanesio, thank you so much. It was an interesting presentation. Thank you for showing us some of these field funded organizations. Like everything, I'm still surprised that they are no longer in existence because I can remember vividly in 2016, I was one of their users, and it was my favorite site for checking up used cars or for posting my own car. For example, if I have someone that wants to sell a car, I'll just tell the person, go on everything, go and post it. You see the buyer and you see different people calling you and like that. I didn't know that they are no longer in existence. Then another reason why some of these organizations fail that you didn't mention is embezzlement of funds. You mentioned one. I can't remember if it was Wala or Connectmed that they embezzled majority of their funds. Then this one too, this everything too, from what you said, was accused of stealing thousands of dollars. Was accused of stealing thousands of dollars, enabling internal mismanagement and creating false invoice trace to cover up his track. So some of those things, let me just add to some of the reasons why venture capital funded organization fail. One, market uncertainty, adding to what you have said, market uncertainty, then mismanagement and embezzlement of funds. Mismanagement and embezzlement of funds. Then you don't have a proper team, like what you said too. You don't have a proper staff, the round peg in the square hole or something like that. You don't have a proper staff. All of this can lead to failure for this new startup. Then something very germane that I also want us to look into is ways to avert failures in venture capitalist funded organization. And you made an example of OPE. OPE had lot of businesses that they are doing. You said OPE has not died or is still in existence, but OPE, right, is no longer in existence. That means they have other businesses, they had other strategies. In case this does not work, this should work. In case this does not work, this should work. And one of the things that affected OPE was government policies and strategies. Government just came up one day and said, okay, henceforth, bikes cannot move on this on major roads and like that. And that was the how do I say it? That was the hallmark of their own business. That was where they were making their own gain, and not moving on major roads again brought a big problem to the organization. But Despite all that, they had other strategies. They had plan A, plan B, plan C to avert so that they don't go down like some of these companies as they have done in the past. So thank you so much for putting us through all this. You have said successful companies in Africa and 5 unsuccessful also in Africa. We look forward to seeing 5 successful companies in the world now, and either US, Canada, Australia, India, it could be anywhere in the world, and 5 unsuccessful companies also around the world by next week. Like, I also want to say something about Mr. Nasi's presentation. I like the way you structured it: introduction, reasons why they fail, then you now mention the company, their funding, and the people that funded them, why they didn't make it to the to some other rounds of funding and like that. Another thing I want you to add now is ways to avert the failure. Mr. Olayanju, can you hear me? Ways to avert the failure. 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 Mr. Olayanju, I also like the fact that you looked at floater waves, then you also looked at Dangote group of company. But I don't know if you have any material that categorically states that Dangote group of companies are venture capitalist funded. Mr. Olayanju, please, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself, please, Mr. Olayanju?
I will do
Can
more
you hear me?
research on that now.
Okay, please do more research, especially
Yes, I
on
can hear
Dangote
you.
group of companies.
I will do more research.
Because from
All
what I
right,
know
ma'am.
about Dangote group of companies, majority of it funding come from bank loans and blah 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 like that. So please do more funding, do more findings on it, and let's see. I also like the fact
All
that
right, ma'am.
we didn't just look at some West African or African companies. We have touched South Africa, we have touched Kenya, Nigeria, and some other neighboring
Thank you.
countries all around us. Mr. Nasri, please, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, ma.
The other woman is not here, Mrs. What's her name again?
I, I don't know what her name is. I'm not sure what her name is.
Yeah, that's right, or something.
I think her name is Rukaya. Rukaya.
Okay. No, not the person that didn't attend, the person that said she wanted to go and charge her phone.
Yes, I think that's Rukaya. Oh, I'm
Oh,
not sure.
okay. She's not here now, and
Yeah,
we have to close for today. This is
for today.
9:15 already.
Yeah. I tried reaching her. She didn't respond to a call, so maybe.
Okay. I also want to give you another assignment. Yourself and Mr. Olayanju. Mr. Olayanju,
Okay.
your own assignment,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
Can you hear me? Your own assignment. I want
I
you
can hear
to
you.
research into rounds of funding. What do we mean by round A funding? What do we mean by round C funding? What do we mean by round B funding? What are the types of funding that venture capitalists are exposed to? Do you understand, sir?
All right, ma'am.
Okay. Then, Mr. Nasio,
Okay, ma.
you said something that it is also new to me. You said initial coin offering. Can you
Coin
remember you
offering,
said
yeah.
that?
Yes, I did.
ICO. Okay. Now,
Exactly.
okay, you are researching into what ICO is and what IPO is.
Okay.
You are
Okay.
researching into what ICO is and what IPO is. Then you are also telling us
Okay.
what non-equity and equity assistance means.
Okay.
Non-equity. It has to be a thorough research, and if our time permits next week, you can quickly share what it means. And
All right, then
and
that's fine.
okay, so can we call it a day tonight? Thank you so much for joining me online today. The Lord bless you. Do we have any
Thank you.
question?
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you have any question?
None.
Okay. Do
Okay.
you suggest that we still meet one-on-one, or this is okay?
Well, you can maybe we can have one more we can have one-on-one class before the end of the semester.
One-on-one, the challenge is time.
Well, that's true.
Time and space. I don't know what other the other what's it called, elective that you're doing.
Okay.
Have you started?
Honestly, I've not been able to
Let
get a
me
grip of
hold
Dr.
on. Let
Nicholas.
me end the
They're still
live.
online.
Yes, let me end the live.
Yeah.